COVID-19 has left an indelible mark on Tasmania and its people, and the longer-term ramifications are still to be worked through. Tragically, 13 Tasmanians lost their lives to the virus in 2020. Many people lost livelihoods due to measures introduced to manage the virus's spread. The social consequences are widespread and continue. In April 2020, the Premier established PESRAC to provide advice on how best to support Tasmania's recovery from COVID-19. Last July, we provided him with our interim report. It contained 64 recommendations aimed at the short and medium-term recovery. The government accepted all of them and is working through their implementation. The Premier set us a second task, to leave the here and now and look over the horizon to the medium and longer term. This is the focus of our final report. Since August 2020, we have been working with Tasmanians to uncover practical measures that will assist them to build their own future. Our final report contains 52 recommendations that do just that. 4 strong themes emerged from our extensive listening exercise and have shaped our recommendations. They are 1. Creating new economic opportunities and linking people with them. 2. Making sure the health system remains ready to deal with COVID-19 and addressing mental health, food and housing needs. 3. Building community connection and engagement. And 4. Increasing the focus on the environment and sustainability. Added to these is ensuring that our public sector is well equipped for the recovery journey. Turning to the first theme, creating new economic opportunities, we think more can be done to help projects get from the drawing board to be shovel ready. Without cutting any important checks and balances, it needs to be easier for investment to be undertaken. It's not about lowering standards, but getting timely decisions using transparent processes and building a culture of engagement and collaboration with developers. There's little point for Tasmanians in a growing economy if it doesn't deliver jobs and income for them. People need to have the right skills for new opportunities, and we need to get people into the new roles. More needs to be done on both fronts. TasTAFE is critical in delivering the training needed to fill job opportunities for Tasmanians. TasTAFE needs to be a lot more like its clients, flexible and adaptable to meet emerging needs. It can't do that now. That's why we recommend re-establishing TasTAFE as a government business, with the same operational flexibility as other key economic infrastructure providers. It needs to operate at arm's length from the government and outside the Tasmanian State Service. In relation to jobs matching, we call on the state government to step in with both feet, building on the success of recent pilot schemes in Tasmania that take a much more person-centred approach to matching people with jobs at the local level. Tasmanians told us that health is their number one priority for their general well-being and for recovery, and this is the second major theme of our report. Tasmanians had a lot to say to us about mental health. Situational distress has been exacerbated by COVID-19, and this is expected to increase in the future. The mental health system is complex and it is difficult to find the right help. We call for more effort in this area: telephone-based services, online resources and face-to-face connection. COVID-19 has reminded us of the importance of community connectedness and engagement, and that is why it's the third theme in our report. We heard much about the need for face-to-face connection, as well as the barriers to people connecting online. There's no going back in the evolution of online approaches in a wide range of areas, and COVID has kicked up the pace. It has also underscored Tasmania's digital divide. We call for the digital divide to be tackled by the state government co-investing in telecommunication infrastructure, particularly in our regions, and by major new investment in services to address access, affordability and digital ability. Moving to our fourth main theme, Tasmanians told us that the environment is essential for their health, well-being and for their leisure. They also recognised that it's central to the state's economic prosperity. We can't rely on the sustainability head start we have relative to other places thanks to our natural environment and history. Decisive action is needed across a range of fronts to build Tasmania's sustainability credentials. Tasmanians are looking for a vision and strategy to address the challenges of climate change, living sustainably, creating a stronger Tasmania for future generations and showcasing our values to the world. We call on the state government to articulate that vision and to develop a broad-based strategy with concrete actions that bring it to reality. Our fifth theme of public sector preparedness deals with positioning the state service, government businesses and local government to better meet the needs of Tasmanians. In relation to local government, we heard much about place-based approaches and the important role that local government will play as a recovery partner. For it to do this, the sector needs to be resilient and sustainable. The longer-term outlook for the whole local government sector is troubling, and the case for reform is well understood. The current piecemeal approach, based on voluntary incremental change, isn't working. Tasmania faces a standoff on local government reform. That standoff must end. That is why we call on the entire Parliament to sponsor a process to drive structural reform from a clean sheet perspective. 3,500 Tasmanians were involved in our consultation processes. Our recommendations reflect the priorities that emerge from this comprehensive listening exercise. Tasmanians are calling for everyone to have a better chance of success in preparing for work, getting a job and navigating the digital world. These are at the heart of our recommendations. Even if Tasmania remains fortunate enough to avoid the worst of COVID-19, there will be other shocks and challenges facing the state. Our recommendations will strengthen Tasmania's capacity to withstand future challenges, COVID-related or otherwise. The government must lead, but cannot shoulder the whole responsibility for recovery. Every Tasmanian has a part to play in the recovery from the pandemic and in building a better Tasmania. Tasmanians told us they have a willingness for this task. Our recommendations are not just for the state government. They are for all Tasmanian organisations and our community.